Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. It's Sunday afternoon, Militiaman and Crew here once again, and just wanted to hope everybody, hope everybody did have a wonderful weekend. It's not quite over yet. Sun's not even set where I'm at, but anyway, the nice thing is that having a really nice day and beautiful weather. Every single one of us that's out here in what we're doing should take a break, get some fresh air, get some exercise, drink a lot of water, eat some quality food. All of those good things, because man, we've been through this, and it's kind of stressful for everybody. A lot of people are out, hurting, suffering. I'm sorry about that, but the bottom line is though that I do care. I do pray for you all, and I also pray for the fact is that our study is a good one, and we bring you hope, because we try to give the best information that we possibly can to the best of our ability through patreon.com/MM and Crew. We have all of that plus Discord, where it's packed with all the articles, whether I analyze them or not, are in our Discord, and that is offered for free from Patreon. It's not from me, it's from Patreon. That's a fascinating situation, so just check that out. All those members that are just checking it out, I think there's quite a few of you. Sample it, come in for 30 days and see if you like it. There's no obligation. But anyway, that's just the idea, because we're getting to a time where it's really close, and I think that time frame is really close, that if you guys want to have your pulse on it, we're going to try to bring that to you guys, to everybody. We do that via many different ways, okay? So be patient, understanding, and study. If you haven't, if you're really, really new, just smile and listen at first, because we talk about a lot of stuff. It's really complex, it's really in-depth, and it's been around a long time. We have been around a long time. All of our crew members have been involved in this, bare minimum 5 years, many may over or at 20 years. Okay, so we have collectively a lot of education, we have a lot of knowledge, and we just really truly do feel that what we studied and why we're here is because of what we believe. It's not because of anything much more than that. When you feel you know something and you're passionate about it, it's important to stick with that. I learned a long time ago from the guy that trading in gold stocks and stuff, billionaire kind of guy. He just said, look, a lot of times billionaires and people with a lot of money, they find things, but they don't necessarily do anything about it, but they buy into it because they know it's a winner. And they'll sit for a year, 10 years, and sometimes more. And that's what we're seeing, because right now we know that Iraq is about to be one of those investments, if you will, that is probably going to change a lot of people's lives. And I hopefully won't change a lot of lives, because they got, for instance, they got, as I would say, worn out. A lot of times what happens is you got good information, you got bad information. And like it's in stocks, if you have stock players out there, what they do is they go long and short. So if the long players can pump the stock up effectively, if you will, positive information, and I say that with integrity, to bring in, hey, show me the good, what's good about this investment, and people do that. And I've done that, and I still do it, because I believe in what I do. I believe in the Iraqi dinar. I believe in it. Okay, there's some people that don't necessarily believe in it, or they're not even on the fence on it, and they're all over the board on it, and they create a sentiment that is actually kind of harmful, just because they feel like they think that they show the negative. So just because that's their style, I'm not so sure that's a very bright idea. In fact, sometimes I think it's reckless that people do stuff like that. It's like, look, what's the truth? What's the bottom line? Is there some bad things that are happening? Well, first off, you can go and say, well, yeah, there's things blowing up all over the world in different places. You got, I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, you can sit there and go to every news channel in the world and find negative news, but that's not what militiamen and crew are about. Do we understand some of those things? Of course we do. But the cool part about it is like this, for instance. What are we going to have? This article is going to be something about a positive note. I try to keep it that way. Again, just try to and keep in mind that this is a study that is, what we're trying to say is like, what's going on? How is it going to affect us? And is it going to be good or bad? But the bottom line is that what we can see is that Al Awlaq, central bank governor, is going to be in New York, if he isn't already, tomorrow. And what's he going to be talking about? Okay. Iraq and America resume negotiations on the banking sector next Monday. I'm not so sure that banking is the only thing that Al Awlaq's coming there for, is to take some banks that have been sanctioned by the United States Treasury, the U.S. Federal Reserve, 5, those are the only focus. Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't to me, because granted, reputational risk is a big thing in banking. If you get blackballed, trust me on this one, you go Chapter 7, you get reputational risk, business gets harsh for you. And those bankers over there know that. There's a hierarchy in the world, and banking people know it. And I learned that from that gentleman I told you about those gold stocks, and gold being at $275 an ounce, and now it's at $2,500. Okay, so think about things like that, right? Interest rates, people don't realize that interest rates drove the market, the gold market, I believe, back in the 1980s. And subsequently, dot-com bubble, all of those things came about, right? And what are we seeing? Gold's over $2,500, $2,500, if you will, please. And that's kind of important, right? You have things like the Dow Jones Industrial over 41,000. Does that make any sense to you guys? Do you know that the dollar into a basket of currencies is more than a dollar? But everybody says it's going to fail, it's going to fall apart. Do they tell you that gold, the United States of America, has 8,133.5 tons of gold? You can find that on the Gold Council's website. And then compare it to the top 3 countries and see if they even compare, right? So when people talk about the United States doesn't have any value, I think you guys got to be careful. Then you got to think about, does the United States Treasury and the U.S. Federal Reserve have any dinar? Does the United Kingdom have any dinar? Does Canada have any dinar? Does Australia have any dinar? Does Japan have any? South Korea? All the coalition forces, do you think any of them have dinar? What about China? Okay, back to our good friend Petra. All boats rise with the tide. So all of those things, keep it in mind. What's on the table? Are all of those things in the background on the table in New York City today? Tomorrow? We're going to find out. A delegation of the Central Bank of Iraq travels to the United States of America to resume negotiations on the banking sector. It says a source familiar with the news said the delegation from the Central Bank of Iraq will start its negotiations with the U.S. side on the current 26th of August in America. Okay? We'll start its negotiations. For the what? For those banks. Whoa, really? That's all? Okay. He says he added the central bank has moved to sign a contract with Oliver Wyman International to present a plan on reforming the banking or the private banking sector over the next 6 months. Well, if you think about it for a minute and say, wait, didn't Ernst & Young have a contract to do all of these things back in January of 2024? Sure they did. And we also have some data that shows that they're talking about, Al Awlaq was talking about the final portion of that contract, which is the real estate bank merging with the housing fund. So you got to be careful in what you read. And I'm being careful because it's not easy to do this, you guys. In a sense, I can read it, it's easy, but understanding it is You got to be careful. So anyway, he points out that the plan is proposed to be submitted that includes a merger of some banks and the cancellation of licensing of some other banks. Okay, so this particular Oliver Wyman may be working in conjunction with Ernst & Young. I could see that happening because that's what he's talking about right there. So keep that in mind. Is there likely more to the story? I think so. They speak of negotiations over the bank licensing issues. We know that there is an account called the Iraqi 2 account, which will give them the ability, I don't know, to trade internationally at some point. But is there going to be, if they're going to be trading internationally, is there something that needs to be done and being prepared for hooking up the ISX stock exchange to the NASDAQ, for instance, or going to the Forex prior to that? There's a lot of things that are coming to fruition. If you go to that Article 4 consultation, 68-page document, what are they talking about? The whole document is talking about private sector. Just open the document, Google it, find it, private sector, and you're just going to go private sector, Control F key, type in private sec. You're going to go like boom, 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 boom. I don't know if there's 30 to 60 pages. Of every page is talking about the private sector of Iraq. So you guys, please pay attention. They're bringing value to their currency. That's the whole idea of this whole thing. And it's really coming together quite quickly. So basically, here's an interesting thing. It's like, well, how do you value a country? What's it based off of? If the country is valued off of their natural resources, right? You got to do a collective analysis. You got to value it. There's been people as far back as, I think, 2003, 2004, that literally worked on a feasibility study on the country of Iraq. And one of those places was in Central Coast, California. And I know that, okay, for a fact, because I wrote a letter to the gentleman that wrote the feasibility study, okay? The bottom line is that it's been a long time since then, but we've been watching it ebb and flow ever since. I didn't become on board, even though I learned about that study that was done previous, but I didn't get involved until about 2010. Okay, so about 14, 15 years real close, that's what I'm going on, is that I believe, because the IMF was the document, I think it was a 198-page document that showed 322. That was what they showed, and I was, wow, that's what they potentially could reinstate at. I'm like, wow, okay, now it's time for me to pay attention, and I have been. That's why I'm here. So here it is. Iraq is the 9th largest buyer of gold in 2024. Interestingly enough, if you guys remember back, I think it was a few years ago, probably 2018, 2019, they found 43 tons of gold at the Syrian border. Truckload, a huge truck, or yeah, not trucks, but loaded, okay, 43 tons. I don't know if you guys have been in the mining industry, but they rate trucks by tonnage. Some trucks are 50-ton trucks, sometimes they're 100-ton trucks. I mean, think about it for a minute, 100 tons. Okay, they have them at 250, 260-ton trucks. Okay, one load. Okay, in this particular case, it was solid gold, 43 tons. Okay, so anyway, get my point though. But they told us that we had, I think, well, let's put it this way. I believe, to be really accurate, is that they had 132 tons in 2023. In 2024, they're telling you they just bought 100 tons of gold this year. Where'd they get all the money for that? Did they claw it all back? Did they get that from, clawing back all the corruption, the crime of the century? All of a sudden they have enough money to buy at somewhere between, let's call it $2,000 and $2,500 an ounce. 100 tons? You got to go, what? What does it do? The good part about it, what it does is it supports the value of their future real effective exchange rate. And so why is the IMF talking about appraisal, endorsing an appraisal of the country? I mean, if you think about it, what does an appraisal do? Have you ever had an appraiser come to your house or come to your business and appraise your property? What does he do? He gives you a market value to some degree. There's definitely different definitions of value. But in this case, what are you talking about? You're talking about the valuation of a country. That's what they're talking about. An appraisal. Appraisal is what? It's a valuation, right? IMF, Article 4, 2024. They talk about that stuff. They don't talk about it like in a more broad sense or literal sense to the degree that it's going to give away inside information or anything, but keep in mind, it's powerful. So to be fair, look, basically what these guys are saying, they bought a bunch of gold. It says, we cannot underestimate the great efforts being made now to give another picture of the Iraqi reality. So by buying gold, they're given another picture. Considering that it is a mistake to obstruct the path of reform and proceed with the real building of the country. So they are going against anybody that's going to obstruct their reform process and rebuilding their country. Kudos to them. It says that what is al-Sudani's government, including an emphasis on a set of main points, including addressing poverty, of course, unemployment, combating financial and administrative corruption. They've been heavy on that, combating unemployment, which they'll do in the private sector, just like the IMF has been talking about, and subsequently all the people in the institutions that are working with the IMF. Providing opportunities, activating the role of investment agencies and promoting industry. Here's the kicker: accelerating the reconstruction of liberated areas and improving health services for citizens. So once again, they're talking about, let's accelerate this, let's get the reconstruction effort going and improve the health and services for citizens. Basically, what have they been doing? They've been cleaning up the corruption. Has it been an arduous task? It sure probably has for al-Sudani, but it looks like it's paying off in more ways than one. Look, if they've clawed back enough money to help buy 100 tons of gold, man, there's been some heavy corruption. And I'm assuming that their recent income from non-oil revenues has probably had something to do with it as well. Okay? So look, the United States of America has a massive amount of natural resources. Again, I think we don't get credit for it, but I'm not going to go down that path, but nor does Iraq, because they have some of the largest deposits of phosphates and sulfur, and they have some massive world-class gold supplies. They have rare earths, they have liquid natural gas, and they also, we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, is tourism. Because they all generate income, and then all the goods and services that are going to go through that development road project that are going to come from China into Europe. Okay, they're going to go through the development road project. And so you're going to find taxes and tariffs at the borders are going to be a lot of revenue, a lot. And so keep it in mind. So what does it do? Why would they be talking about appraisals? So all of these income streams, okay, not just oil. So oil was, when Iraq was back in the Saddam Hussein era, it was around 322, may have been considered a little bit overpriced, should have been more about $2.80, $3.22 to $1. It's at $13.10 right now. Okay, $13.20. There's a big difference, you guys. But now you have to add all of those things I just mentioned, the valuation of a country. That's what they have to do. There's different agencies. The IMF knows that. They endorsed, it says specifically in that 68-page document, they endorsed their staff's appraisal of Iraq. Could it mean something different than what I'm talking about? Possibly. I doubt it. So anyway, next thing is here, check this out. Article 140, Democrat Party reveals the negotiating paper. There is a negotiating paper that was signed that includes the legislation of the oil and gas law as well as Article 140, in addition to other points. The gentleman points out that among the points included in the paper is the activation of the Sinjar agreement signed between the federal government and the regional government and the return of displaced Yazidis to their areas of residence. They stop short of telling you that it's 100% complete by any stretch of the means. all I can say is that this language is suggesting that, look, this thing's been battled for like 20 years. There comes a time where they're going to have to just like buckle up and just get something on the table and get it done. And obviously, since ISIS has been gone now since what, 20, I don't know, 6 years, let's call it, okay? They've got to have this somewhat sorted. And have they revealed it yet? But Democratic Party in the headline says they revealed a negotiating paper. So we're going to see if they reveal it, or if they did reveal it and they're just not revealing the end result just yet. So I think they're going to show it. And here's another article. Oil, 2028, they may achieve self-sufficiency in gas to meet the electricity production requirements. Well, what's that mean? Well, they pushed that up from 2030 to have self-sufficiency to 2028. So that's 2 years ahead of schedule. Sounds pretty good to me. Ministry of Oil, Hassim Shihad, confirmed that the ministry signed approximately 10 official contracts with international companies in 13 oil and gas sites in the central and southern governments of Iraq. So look, you have a potential agreement with, includes Article 140, okay? You've got the idea of that you have a hydrocarbon law situation where you've got to pay people, the citizens, take care of them. And here you're talking about doing 13 contracts and these guys aren't getting paid. I don't know. We'll have to see how that turns out, but I'm pretty sure that there's a good idea that if they're going to be signing new contracts at this stage of the game for oil and gas, this is probably already done. We'll see. It says now, let's go road is now paid for investment companies. So they're saying the road is now paid for investment companies to which the contracts have been awarded to invest in Iraq gas associated with oil extraction operations, in addition to investing in gas fields, to contribute to effectively with national efforts in gas investment operations. So they're basically going to be allowing these guys to move forward and exploit their oil and gas, but you have the Cyan ports shut down. You go, why? How's that? How are you doing new contracts when the old contracts are having some problems? There's more to the story, everybody. I'm pretty sure of it. Okay, so anyway, it says at the end of the day, ministry signed about 10 official contracts with international companies in 13 oil and gas sites in the central and southern governance of Iraq. And that was dated today. So that's pretty cool. Baghdad is preparing. And the question is, will the Arab tourism capital be a platform for Iraq's return to the forefront? Well, it says here the file criteria nominating Baghdad as the Arab tourism capital for the year 2025 is a technical file par excellence related to the infrastructure owned by the state in various fields in health, civil defense, and tourism. So again, we're talking about revenue streams, non-oil revenue streams, tourism, part of the process, right? Taxes and tariffs at the borders, valuation, oil, liquid natural gas, right? Phosphate, all those minerals. Which companies are doing that work? When did they get started? Why did Ernst & Young get started in January? You got to think ahead, man. It's really important that you pay attention, because there's so much information that supports everything that we're talking about here, is that Iraq is going to be a dominant force in this world. They are in effectively proving to the world over a period of time. You might not see it, but they're saying that they were going to be a financial savior effectively for the international financial system. Okay? They have so many assets. They have so many assets that they can do what they said they were going to do. Al-Sudani wasn't lying when he said the dinar is going to be stronger than the dollar. He didn't say at what number he was going to do it at. He didn't say that, but he said it. So what does that mean? That means that he's not going to be a liar. That's how I see it. He's not going to be, not in his position. Look what he's done so far since he's been in office. It's been fascinating. What a study we've been in. I am really smoking stoked, you guys. It's great. Okay, so Baghdad's file will be voted as the capital of tourism. They go on to say that they've been nominated as the capital for the year 2025. What is the aim? The aim is nominating Baghdad is to enhance the position of leading sustainable tourism. One of the major things is to undertake improving the infrastructure and developing the quality of tourism services. But they go on to say with the increase in number of visitors, the revenues of various sectors such as hotels, restaurants, and tourism services will increase, which will contribute to creating new job opportunities and improving the infrastructure. Do you guys see where this is all going? It's showing you that they're developing this whole system so much more complex than just going, poop, turn the button on. They had to get everything ready to go, I guess. Okay, so basically what this file will do, enhance investment in the tourism sector and as it's related to infrastructure leading to sustainable development. Those are the buzzwords that are from the IMF, the World Bank, Bank of International Settlements, yada, 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 right? Increased economic growth. Basically, they're getting to the point where economic experts are saying choosing Baghdad as the capital of our Arab tourism will bring great economic benefits to Iraq and to the surrounding areas while contributing and stimulating the national economy. I mean, it's going to be impressive. Increasing tourism revenues and stimulating local and foreign investments, in my view, is going to be off the charts. So I would say buckle up, get ready, and pay attention to what goes on in New York City in the next 24, 48 hours to see if we've missed anything. Basically, of course, not to be on the side, you guys realize that Baghdad dates back centuries. So, look, they've had massive amounts of ancient artifacts returned to their country, the United States inclusive, 30,000 pieces just from the United States alone. So basically, the Babylonian civilization is going to be reshown to the world again. Basically, what are they going to be doing? This whole idea is going to be boosting international confidence in Iraq and encourage a greater engagement with international communities, because they're going to want you to come and visit the country and say this is what we have to offer, because they've been under the thumb for so long. It's time. They deserve it. Pivotal steps that they've taken towards Iraq's comprehensive renaissance. A renaissance is built anew. It's phenomenal, you guys. It's wonderful to watch this. I hope you get it. I hope you're enjoying it. And I know it's exciting. I know it's tough, but we can see it happening. So here's another article. And it is about Al-Alaq. To resolve the issue of banks deprived of the dollar. Al-Alaq to Washington soon. That's the quote. That's the headline, I should say. It says a responsible source in the central bank revealed today, Sunday, the imminent visit of the governor of the central bank, Al-Alaq, United States of America, to resolve issue of Iraqi banks deprived of the dollar. I'm fairly sure that's not the only thing, but the bottom line, Al-Alaq is to New York City of the United States. And what are they going to be doing? They're going to be having several meetings with the U.S. Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury. Several meetings with the U.S. Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury. Over those banks, that's all? I don't think so. These Iraqi banks are not being punished, but are only being deprived of dealing in dollars. So if the banks are the only thing they're coming for, so Al-Alaq made all this way, all this different stuff to not punish any banks. Does that really make sense? No, there's got to be deeper to that, you guys. Al-Alaq's visit comes to lift the deprivation as well as discuss protecting the Iraqi banking system and supporting its stability. Oh, so they come out and tell you the truth now. There's more to the story, discussing protecting the Iraqi banking system and supporting its stability. So does it sound like if you're just going to get your fingers slapped or pinched in the door real quick for not playing by the rules effectively and you can fix it real quick, it's no big deal? right? But now they're talking about discussing and protecting the Iraqi banking system and supporting its stability. Obvious, there's more going on than they're telling you, in my opinion. It's noteworthy that the governor of the central bank, Ali Alak, settled his controversy Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, regarding the reconsideration of the dollar exchange rates. Why are they talking about the dollar exchange rates? Because the United States does that. We do what we do with our currency. Iraq has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. But they said Wednesday, August 7th. What happened on the 6th? Was there not a Council of Ministers meeting on the 6th? I think if we look back, we're going to probably find out there's something happened on the 6th that got to the 7th, and it was regarding these things. So what? It says there's no intention to reconsider the dollar exchange rates. Really? Okay, so why even bring it up? It's not warranted. Central bank sells more than $250 million daily at the official price. Well, of course they do. Why? Because they're importing stuff. And what are they doing it through? Are they doing it in the black market? Or are they doing it in the new platform? Okay. I would say the newer platform. Controlling inflation, what have they done? Iraq's been controlling inflation. So in other words, the loppers out there, they're just like out of control. They won't quit. They just keep coming at everybody. Not just me. But look, lobster for inflation, man. Iraq doesn't have any. So do your study and pay attention. And then hopefully you don't hurt more people. Okay, so here it says, we will reach 100% of foreign transfers without going through the U.S. Federal Reserve by the end of the year. Well, why do they say something like that? Because everybody and their brother that's going to be going through doing stuff, they don't need to go through the Federal Reserve anymore. The correspondent banks are going to take care of that. Because why? Because they all have a platform that is fully vetted. They're not going to need to do that. Okay? It saves the Federal Reserve, saves the U.S. Treasury, saves the central bank, for instance, even. Correspondent banks are going to be handling that, as far as I can tell. Central bank is undergoing a major transformation process for reorganizing foreign trade. Our procedures in foreign trade are being carried out for the first time with the participation of international institutions. So, wow, so now they're working with international institutions to carry out foreign trade. So they're doing it in a manner that's internationally accepted. So in other words, they're bypassing platforms because they can, because they're transparent. Does that mean that they have the blockchain technology? Is that what they're doing? Is that electronic digital payments, real-time gross settlements digitally? Let's pay attention and watch it, see what happens. It says there are small traders outside the system who are putting pressure on the market, black market probably. A mechanism to regulate their trade is about to be launched. Oh, so something's about to be launched to squelch that. So are they going to raise the value of the currency of the Iraqi dinar to a point that they won't be wanting to buy dollars, or no need for it other than for travel, specifically for travel? Okay, we'll see. It says we're focused on getting everyone involved in the proper fundamental channels. So, yeah, we are involved in getting the proper fundamental channels, and we're focusing in on it. All right. He goes on to say, commercial foreign transfer operations are subject to review by the specialized international companies. So once again, they talk about that. Meetings in New York at the end of August. So that's where we are today. We're at the end of August. And to discuss lifting sanctions on banks and reviewing transfer operations. I don't think that's the same, all of it in the whole thing. But lastly, I'm going to get to, it says the government's trend to increase capital support for the real estate bank. This is big, you guys. And the housing fund in the budget. What did I talk about? Ernst & Young, last thing in the contract. Remember, Rafidain, there's a lot of things that are happening that they haven't focused in on. But we had the Rafidain and Rashid Bank being merged, right? Then you had subsequently a contract with Ernst & Young. Come into patreon.com, /MM Crew, and you guys can do your research, and you're going to find that I have all this stuff. We have it. MM and C do. Samson brought it all in, you guys. Bring it. So enjoy. The paragraph on increasing the capital of the real estate bank and the housing fund in the budget has not been implemented yet, but that's what they're saying. Not just yet. What are they waiting for? All right, we're going to find out. I don't think I need to get into all of my comments because we've been here for a little bit of time, but just know this, that the real estate and the housing fund, that's one of the last things that they do when they go live with monetary reforms. From my understanding, to the best of my knowledge, is that one of the end things is privatizing the banking sector, which is part of the private sector. And by the way, if you look, and you can find this by doing a proper search, that the IMF Article 4 for 2024 consultation, right? One of the most important things was that for them to accelerate accession to the WTO. All right. And last article we're going to talk about, and I'll try to do it as fast as possible. It is about the Arbaeen pilgrimage, how the global media has some presence, and that pilgrimage is basically an evidence of strength of Iraq and its generous people. So they're literally talking about the global media presence in the Arbaeen pilgrimage is evidence of the strength of Iraq and its generous people, as the international media expressed great amazement, admiration, and hospitality of the Iraqis and the nobility of their morals, which aroused high appreciation from all foreign guests. It says, we will continue to attract international media to convey the facts on events on all national and Iraqi occasions. This is the long-awaited national entitlement that must be achieved. National entitlement that must be achieved. I think you guys ought to just leave it at that. Isn't that powerful? Because basically, Iraq deserves a national entitlement. They deserve a national currency. They deserve a sovereign currency. They deserve a sovereign country. They deserve a development road project. They deserve to have employment. They deserve to have growth, jobs, all that. They need to get that back. It's been too long. They need to have it done. And I think now you're seeing that they're actually coming through with it. And when I say they, I think they're working in conjunction with the global financial system. They're having help from Europe. They're having help from all over the world. It's not just the United States of America hindering it. They're doing it to make it right because these new systems have to be done properly. So it isn't just 5 banks. Will those 5 banks come back online and regain their reputational circumstances to the good side? We'll see what happens in the next couple of days, or maybe in the next few hours. We're going to find out. But listen, thank you for being with me on Sunday. Sorry for being long-winded, but to be honest with you, powerful information. I think you guys should take it seriously and enjoy. Hey man, if you like my content, of course, hit that subscribe button. And by the way, all you guys that say you hit 0 and it's subscribe, I have no idea why that happens. But if you do, it's great for me. And please, stick around. Come on into Patreon. Everybody's welcome. And by the way, if you like the content, of course, we have Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal are so beneficial for us. Everything helps. Appreciate it very much, you guys, and have a great week. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.